I can tell what kind of person you are just by how you trade. I can tell if you're responsible. I can tell if you're disciplined. I can tell if you keep your promises to your kids, to your spouse. I can tell all these things. It's built into what you do in the heat of the moment in the market, because the market is nothing more than a replica, a minuscule replica of life. You go into the market, you go into life. You go into the market every day, you wake up and you go into life every day. You have to protect yourself in the market. You've got to protect yourself in life. You got to look for opportunities in the market. You look for opportunities in life. You have to take advantage and sometimes realize your gains in the market. You got to know when to stop and take your gains and enjoy the roses and take a vacation. And you got to know when to do that. You got to know when to cut. You got to know when to cut a troublesome stock, to cut it out of your life. You got to know when to cut a troublesome person out of your life. You got to know how to end a toxic relationship. I've got a toxic relationship with this trade. I got a toxic relationship with this person. What is the difference? The same precepts, the same things, the same qualities, the same characteristics that make for a good, responsible person is the same for being a good, responsible trader. It's the same freaking qualities. There's no difference. You can't become more disciplined in your trading and not become more disciplined in your life outside of trading. How? Like, does discipline say, okay, I've worked for you in trading. Oh, wait a minute, you're stopped trading? Okay, my time's off. Let me know when you come back to trading. I'm not being disciplined for you anymore. Do you think that's the way it works? It doesn't have a 9 to 5. Discipline is universal. If you become disciplined in one corner of your life, it's all in all four corners of your life. And this is what makes trading spiritual, because the market is neutral. Microsoft trades the same way for you as it does for me, as it does for Warren Buffett. There's no difference. So the market is neutral. The things that are different are you, me, and Warren Buffett. That's what makes our results different. So what you get from the market is totally dependent on who you are. You understand? And people don't want to improve who they are. Think about how many people sign up for new gym memberships at the beginning of the year and don't do anything. Nobody wants to change. Nobody wants to change who they are. They say it, but very few people do. Most people will rather say, Oliver's training is bad. I did not improve, so now I'm over here. That they would rather do that than say, I did not work on myself. But I will tell you this, that at the end of the day, if you're going to make progress, you've got to ultimately stand still. You're going to have to stop moving. Stop changing, stop flip-flopping, stop switching, stop buying another book, stop getting another course, stop moving to another platform, stop searching for another mentor, stop looking for another seminar or another program. And you're going to have to one day stop the search. You're going to have to dig your heels in and start gaining some roots right where you are. Because you know what? You're going to realize, and if you're lucky, you will realize this. Many people don't. That wherever you go, there you are all over again. At a certain point, you got to realize I'm running from myself, that I am bad everywhere I go. And what's the common denominator? All the places are different, but I'm the same. And I'm getting the same results no matter where I go. So I want this to ring in your ear forever. Wherever you go, there you are again. So if you don't like what you're getting wherever you go, then it's you. You better change you. That's what's beautiful about this game called trading. It is a game of self-discovery and self-improvement and ultimately self-mastery. Because if you ever hope to have any degree of market mastery, you're going to have some degree of self-mastery first. It doesn't work in the reverse. I was having this conversation with my traders today that nobody wants to change first and then get results. People say, well, you know what? If you give me results, then I'll start working on change. How does life work? What planet do you live on? Wait, pay me first, then I'll do the work. Really? And In what freaking world? In what lifetime? In what life? Where do you live? Like, what? Am I watching a movie right now? What movie do you live in? What movie am I watching? What kind of Disney shit is this? Like, dude, you have to put something out before you get something back. You don't sit back and say, that's the problem with a big portion of the world's population, is that things have moved to the point where people want first. How do you get first before you give first, before you put forth something out first? If you go to a park and there's a swing there in the park, right? And you want the swing to come to you, don't you have to push the swing first? Then you get the swing coming back to you? No, people want the swing to come back to them first. I'll push when you come to me. Like dude, I can't help people like that. I'm so baffled. I sometimes scratch my head and be like, what book who taught you when you were a kid how life was? And can you get me a copy of the book that they read? Like, what book did your parents read? I want to see that book where you were taught this in life, that this is the way to get ahead in life. You get first. Like, you don't work first. You don't work on yourself first. You don't become better first. You don't become more disciplined. You don't become more seasoned. You don't first work on becoming more educated, more informed. Like, you don't change you first to become better, and then you take the better you into the world. Like, that's not what you were taught. Like, whoa. So I don't know what book your parents were reading. You know, because you know how new parents always kind of read books on childhood. Yeah, we're having a kid. I did that. I bought books on that. Then I threw them out, man, after the first one.
When you can approach your trading with full awareness, this is the ultimate state. Because the problem in our trading is that we lose our awareness in the middle of the trade. That is why you can't do what you say you're going to do. That is why you can't keep your promises, because your promise is when you are aware. And then in the middle of the trade, you lose awareness, and therefore you lose your promise. You lose your rules because you have lost yourself. And by losing yourself, you've lost your promises. And so the goal is to remain aware. I'm aware that my thoughts are saying this, but my promise is this. And my thought is not my promise. My thought is not me. My thought is not intelligence. And that's when you start to increase the length of awareness and not allow your awareness to break up, not allow yourself to lose your promises, lose yourself, lose what you planned. And it becomes easier and easier and easier to do. The real essence of something is between and behind. Read between the lines, because that's where the real meaning is. You know, it's always between or behind. What's between your thinking? What's behind your thoughts? Thought of a rose is not a rose, but the thought covers up the rose. The thought cuts off your relationship with the rose, because now you are dealing with the thought of the rose, and the rose is blocked by the thought, like a cloud blocks the blue sky. And all you see is the cloud now. And so you have cut yourself off from reality. So when you think, I will kill the trade here, Oliver, because the thought of the bottoming tail bar producing this, but it's not reality. It's the thought of a possibility, loses himself at that moment and regards the thought of this green movement as real. And that thought takes over the real. The real is now not seen. The real is not recognized. What is now accepted as true is the thought of that green arrow. The action is based on something that is not real, but that is accepted as real. Therefore, I act. But it's just a thought. And when a thought takes over and you accept it as real, what is that called? I create reality. My picture should be acted on. My thoughts are real. Not reality itself, but I create reality. I create what should be acted on. It's my pictures in my mind that matter. It's not what this chart says. It's not what my list says. It's what I come up with that should be acted on. That's the essence of ego. My problem is that I'm acting off of my thoughts. And my thoughts have the worst record in the world, but yet I feel like they have the best record in the world. Why is that? Why do I feel like my thoughts are so important when they suck? What kind of delusion is that? My thoughts have the worst record in the world, yet I treat them as if the record is pristine. I break every rule in the book because I feel like my thoughts are superior, but they have the worst record in the world. Because we think it's part of who we are. Well, actually, you think it is who you are. Most people confuse the voice in their head with them, right? You go through most of your day and this voice doesn't shut up. Do you understand? And it's not you, but you have assumed now that it's you. And it's not. It has taken over you. You are in between and behind them. I don't need another indicator. I don't need another tactic. I don't need another technique or another trading platform or another seminar or another mentor for that matter. What I need is a different me. I don't need a different something else. I need a different me. Because wherever I go or whatever I touch, I get the same results. And what's the common denominator? That everything I touch is touched by the same me. Everywhere I go is visited by the same me. Everything I take on is taken on by the same me. All of these other things are different, but I wind up getting the same results. And so what is the common denominator if everything else is different? It's you. I used to tell traders all the time, wherever you go, there you are again. So when are we going to stop going places, dig in, stand still for once, and start working on you?
What if you happen to have that 8%er quality? What if you are really one of the 8%? How are you going to know? How are you ever going to know if you don't give this a shot? Because I will tell you, if you are, my God, I can't think of a freer life than the life of a trader. I can't think of being freer, more independent than a trader. I don't care how successful you are in your business, you are not free. I don't care how great of a lawyer you are a slave to your clients. I know this. I know lawyers. They're slaves. But Oliver, I'm a surgeon. Yeah, but you have no control over your nights, because if that phone rings while you're in bed, your family's asleep, 2 o'clock in the morning, you're going to have to leave your family. You're not free. You might have some monetary rewards for someone else forcing you out of your bed at 2 a.m., but that's not freedom. That's not independence. You got a successful chain of supermarket stores. You think you're free? No, Because if you do not run that, if you're not in those stores, your business collapses. That's free? That's independent? No. The last bastion of total freedom and independence is a trader with a freaking laptop computer and an internet connection. You are in business. You give me 20 minutes, a laptop computer, and an internet connection from anywhere in the world, I will show you freedom. And so, what if you have that quality? What if you have the qualities to potentially be that 8%? It is a life that words can't actually, they fail to be able to capture. It's special, people. It's special. So just because it's so special, everyone should try. I don't care how old you are. You should try it. Especially if the cost to try is so small. All right, that's the reason number one. The other reason that every person should try is because even if you fail, it is not a total loss. There is something spiritual about this activity called trading. If I've said it once, I've said it 1,000 times, 1,000,000 times, that the characteristics that call for you to be a successful trader are the same characteristics that are called upon to be a successful anything. And because of that, trading is this act, this spiritual act of self-inquiry, this spiritual act of improving yourself. Let me give you an example. One of the skills in trading is to be able to discern when a trade should be abandoned, cut off, when you should end your relationship with your trade. This relationship is not working. It is not for me anymore. I must end this relationship. I thought it was a good relationship. Now it is proven to me that it is not a good relationship. No questions asked. It needs to be cut out of my life. And I end the relationship. Do you know how many people in real life are stuck in relationships, toxic relationships, relationships that are damaging their existence as a human being? And they're stuck. They don't know how to cut. They have no stop loss. They don't know how to eliminate the relationships that are bad in their lives. This is a life skill. You learn this in trading. When do you double down, people? When is a relationship worth doubling down on? There's a moment in your trade that it is appropriate to double down, not to abandon, but not to abandon. In fact, the opposite. I'm doubling down. You learn this skill when you're in trading. And these are life skills. When you're after this ultimate goal, but you must also learn how to take a break and smell the roses from time to time. When do you take partial profits? When do you take all of your profits and end on top of the game? You know, how many boxers should have ended their career at the top of their career, but they kept going? You know what I'm saying? And they looked terrible at the end of their career. They were great boxers, top of the world, but they couldn't stop. They didn't know how to end a good thing at the top. That's a trading skill. When do you end? Not when you take all of the gain and end at the top. When do you wet your beak a little bit and take just a little, I want to take a little taste. Take a little taste of the profitability, but you leave some in. All of these things that you learn in trading apply to life, which tells you something very special, that the market is a microcosmic version of your bigger life. And there is no way to become better at trading and not become better at your life. You can't become more disciplined as a trader and not become more disciplined as a human being. It's impossible. It's not as if discipline says, wait a minute, I know I'm working for you while you're trading, but oh, you stop trading, I'm off. I'm not going to work for you. Oh, you're going back to your family. You're going back to your job. You're da, 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 da. I only work for, I'm disciplined. I only work for you when you're trade. No, dude, discipline spills over into every corner of your life. And if you become more disciplined as a trader, you'll find that you're more disciplined as a father, more disciplined as an employer, more disciplined as a wife. You're more disciplined in other activities. It spills over into every part of your life. It is spiritual. Do you understand what I'm saying? This is more than buying something for $1 and selling it for $2. I would have gotten bored with that shit a long time ago. It's deeper than that. This hits at the soul of who you are. And the main reason it does that is because there is no hope. Listen to me carefully. There is no hope for you to ever become a successful, a master of the markets until you first master yourself. This is why it's spiritual. Any activity that demands and requires that you first master yourself before you master the thing itself is spiritual. Anything that makes you look inward is spiritual. Anything that makes you work on yourself is spiritual. Become more disciplined, become more responsible, become more calculating and poised and patient and exacting. To know when to act and when not to act, to know when to put it on the line and to be a bit more cautious. This is being a solid human being. Most novice players, most novice traders, most humans, we are not socially designed to be successful market players. So we have to re-engineer ourselves. We have to reprogram the way we think, the way we see, the way we respond. There's this natural tendency for humans to vote for the underdog, right? We love an underdog story. But see, in the markets, that'll destroy you. You understand? The underdog doesn't win most of the time in the financial markets. So you got to flip that. We're playing with the elephants, dude, not the mice. You know, mice are not going to lift me after I buy a stock. I need the elephants to lift me after I buy a stock. We're playing with Goliath. We're playing on the side of Goliath, not playing on the side of David. But we love the side of David. We're socially engineered to love the side of David when a trader has to love the side of Goliath. We naturally look at the institutions as enemies, but in the real world, they're not your enemy. Your uncle is not going to raise the stock that you bought to have you make money. Your neighbor down the street, you might like him, but even if he buys your same stock after you buy, that's not going to do anything for you. I need institutions coming in after me to make money for me. I'm on the side of them. You understand? We're not socially programmed for that. We're designed in a way when it comes to trading where our emotions are upside down. I've spoken about this before. Our emotions are upside down. So when we're down in a play, we hope. So we bought something and it's down, we're negative, we're losing money. We hope it turns around. We're negative, we hope. I hope this gets better. I hope this trade improves. I hope it comes back. I hope I can get my money back. This is wrong. Yet, if We're designed also that if we get a win, we start getting nervous. Oh my God, it's winning. And your palms start to get sweaty with a win. But they're not sweaty with the loss, though. They're sweaty with the win. The butterflies are the biggest with the win. You get the most fearful with the win. Fearful of what? Fearful that the little bit of gain that I have is going to disappear. Oh my God, I've got $455 in 2 minutes. I don't want that to disappear. And you snatch at it out of fear. So think about this. You've got your feelings backwards. You're hoping in negative territory and you're fearing in positive territory. When in fact, the professional fears in negative territory and hopes in positive territory. You see, the master trader fears that this loss, if I don't contain this loss could eliminate my life. I've got a freaking good life. This loss could undo me. This loss could do major damage to me, my family, my future, my career. I fear this loss, and they will not let that loss get out of control out of fear. They've seen what a losing trade can do. They've seen good traders get taken out of the game. They fear loss. When they're in profitable territory, they hope this could be the big one. This could be the mega win that I love, that I win. This could be another big play. This could go on. This could run. This could really pump. They hope in positive territory and fear in negative territory. You have it backwards. We as human beings, our society has conditioned us to be the opposite of this. Now, I'm not saying, I won't go as far as saying which one is right or wrong. I'm just telling you that it's wrong in the market. Whether you want to stay that way in regular life is your choice. But in the market, it's wrong. You're going to have to reprogram yourself. You're going to have to think differently and feel differently. And it is from that rewiring that your actions, your responses become entirely different. That's your rebirth. I spent a good portion of my time last year focused on the psychological aspect of trading because most people enter into this game from the greed aspect, which is normal, and the tactical aspect. So they're just looking to make money and they just want a tactic that works, a strategy, an indicator, or what have you. So most people come into this industry with greed as the motivation, and I want to make money, and I want to have a tool that helps me make money, and that's it. If that trader stays in this long enough, they begin to realize that this is far more important than making money. Making money is very important, trust me. But this is far more important than buying something for $1 and being able to sell it for 2 or 3. That this is a life-changing activity, that this is an activity that helps you evolve as a human being, that you move from being greedy to being more responsible, that you move from just wanting money to actually wanting to become a better person, a more responsible individual, a higher being, that you move to an altruistic state, that it's spiritual almost in nature, the journey, if you stay with it long enough, that you realize later as you stay longer in this activity that perhaps this activity in making you better can help you make the world better, it can help others become better through your activity doing this. So it just starts to expand. Another thing that happens if you stay in this activity long enough is that you realize that almost everything is psychological in nature when it comes to trading. That it's not you against the market makers or you against the market, it's you against you. The market, you realize that the market is neutral. You realize that no one's out to get you. You realize that at the end of the day, you are your worst enemy, and that you must do the best job you possibly can to get you under control, that you have to become more responsible, that you have to become better at keeping your word, that you have to keep your promises, that you have to become more intelligent, more calm, more patient, less greedy. And so this becomes a journey that starts off looking for money out there to actually an inward journey. How do I become a better person? And then how do I take that better person into the market to get better results? You know, when I was in sixth grade, my sixth grade teacher, her name was Miss Nardiello. I'll never forget this name. She gave us an assignment. Some of you might know this story. She gave us an assignment when I was in sixth grade, and she told us to go home over the weekend and come back on Monday and give her our specific personal definition of what being wealthy, being rich, being successful is. She wanted to know, what's success for you? What's wealth for you? Because her view was that it's different for everyone. Everyone has a different image of what that is. So, make a long story short, I realized over the weekend that I couldn't really find anyone in my life I could point to say, that's who I want to be. That's what I want to be. That's what I want to accomplish. And this was an eye opener for me. I didn't know anyone. I looked amongst my family. I looked amongst my relatives, my neighbors, and I couldn't find anyone. And this was eye opening for me. But I remembered something. I remembered one Christmas. I think I was like 6 years old at the time. It's a Christmas that I'll never forget because I felt as though I made my mother feel inappropriate. And I carried around this guilt about that because I wanted this special pair of skates. My mother promised that she was going to get it to me for Christmas, but she wasn't able to. She wasn't able to. Something came up. She got me a couple little trinkets, but I came down, looked for this prize, this gift of mine, and I could see the disappointment, the sadness in my mother's face because I was so disappointed that I didn't have my skates. I never wanted to see that look in my mother's face again. And I felt like it's my fault. I should have pretended. I should have acted like everything was okay. I shouldn't have acted so disappointed. Never want to see my mom look like that again. She was heartbroken. So remembering this, I went back into Miss Nardiello's class on Monday morning. Sorry for the lengthy story, but there's a point here and I'm about to drive it home, right? Went back to Miss Nardiello's class on Monday morning. It was my turn to stand up after maybe 6 or 7 other kids stood up and says, you know, I want a fancy car. I want a big giant mansion. I stood up and said, she says, well, Oliver, what is your definition of success? I said, Miss Nardiello, my success, my idea, my definition of success is as follows. I never, ever want to have to say no when I really want to say yes. And this statement of mine made everyone in the room quiet. And I could see that my teacher, Miss Nardiello, was a little blown away by it. I never want to say no. I never want to have to say no when I really, in my heart and my soul, I want to say yes. Because my mother really wanted to say yes to those skates, but she couldn't. And I never wanted to live like that. I never want to say no when my true desire is really yes. And to me, that's being successful. When your no's are real. When I say no, It's because I don't want to, not because I can't. And that's what drove my life. Do you understand? That drove my life. I never want to have to say no when I really want to say yes. So I'm going to live my life making sure that my no's are not phony. My no's are not fake. My no's are absolutely real. So that when Oliver Velez says no, it's because he doesn't want to, not because he can't.
The law of practice. The law of practice states that it is impossible in this universe, I don't know about another universe, but I do know about this one. In this universe that we find ourselves in, it is impossible to do something over and over and over and over again, to practice it the same way every single time and not get better. It's impossible. Think about that. You can't, even if you wanted to, you can't. You can't stop yourself from getting better. You got to do it the same way every time. You got to practice it the same way. You got to do it the same. But it is impossible in this universe not to get better. You just have to make sure that you don't allow your account, which is a liar in the beginning. Your account lies to you. You have to make sure that you don't let the liar get the best of you. This is where faith comes into play. And you've got to look beyond the current reality. This is what was the darkest period of my life. I knew that I was onto something. I knew that I found the best thing for my life. I knew that I was getting better, but I had no evidence that what I knew was actually real. I had no evidence to show my mom and dad. I had no evidence to show to the world that I chose correctly. This lack of evidence went on for years for me. I knew it in my heart, but couldn't show it to the world. And it's a very frustrating thing. It's lonely. It's lonely AF. And let me just say this. No one will understand you. They might pretend to, but they won't. No one. No one can understand you. In fact, this a portion of what makes this journey so special because it's just you. In this journey, you have to face who you are. You got to drop the ego to the point of view of seeing how ugly you are. You got to look yourself in the mirror without the filters or without the denial. You got to drop that stuff. You got to see your stupidity, see your lack of discipline, see your inability to do what you say you're going to do, see the fact that you are not a man of your word or a woman of your word. You got to start taking the steps to become that. No one can help you do stuff like that. No one can help you improve your manhood, your womanhood, your humanhood, your discipline. These are things you do alone in the dark. And while you're operating on yourself in the dark, no one understands you. No one sees the work that's being done in the dark. There's no evidence to the world that a miracle is happening. Who sees the seed underground growing downward first? Doesn't a seed grow downward first in the ground? Isn't it in the dark? And doesn't it grow downward first? Aren't there roots that sprout and go downward first, then it goes upward? I do have that correct, right? A tree that's planted goes downward first, right? So why do you think that you should not go downward first? Huh? Why do you think you're exempt before you go up? If everything else in nature comes from the darkness first, right? You've got a conceived child is in the darkness of the mother's womb, unbeknownst to the rest of the world for a period of time. No evidence that a miracle is happening inside the woman's womb, right? Everything comes from the dark first. If you even go back and look at things through the lens of Christianity or religion, what's the first statement in the King James Version of the Bible? What does that say? Anybody know? What's the first words? Anybody know what the first words are? I'm the only one who went to church. In the beginning, there was what? There was darkness. What? It's supposed to be dark in the beginning. What do you think you're special? In your beginning, it's supposed to be light? No, let there be light comes later, no? Darkness comes first. It's darkest before dawn, no? It's not the other way around. God help you if you get light first. God help you if you get light first. I pray for you. It's the most unnatural thing because when you get what you're not supposed to have in this universe, oh my God, you better prepare yourself. Because that has to be corrected. And I am promising you, it will be corrected so viciously that you wish that light never came into your life. Look at what lottery winners experience. Huh? Look at what happens to them. No, I was talking about this earlier. You grow from the darkness. You grow from your losses. Your future wins are with you right now. They're just hiding from you inside of your current losses. You're out there searching for your winning trades out in no man's land, when in fact they're right with you inside of your losing trades. You got to crack them open and pull out the future wins. Do you understand this? They're with you right now. Your future is with you right now. It's not in the market. It's with you. It's inside of your trades, inside of your losses, inside of the darkness. Trading has changed my life. There is something sublime. There is something spiritual about this activity. And do you know why that is the case, Mark? And I'm speaking to all of you, but Mark in particular, because Mark asked me this question. Because before there's any hope of becoming a better trader, before there's any hope or chance of mastering the markets, you have to first master yourself. And let me ask you this, Mark. How many people in life do you really believe have truly mastered themselves? The mastery of oneself, which has been an age-old pursuit for millennia, the mastery of the self, the search for the self, the pursuit to master who you are, and what you do. This is a very, very scarce thing in the world. Most people are stirred by something or someone. They believe they're independent. They believe that they're free, but they're really not. This activity actually, if you don't stop and you continue with it, will lead to you mastering yourself, subjugating those emotions that were never in check
before, questioning the constant chattering in your mind that was never questioned before. Doubting how you feel is something that trading made me do. Trading made me realize that my feelings are not rooted in reality. That most of the time when I am fearful, that's when I should be acting. And most of the time when I am excited, that's when I not should be acting. I should not be acting. That I fear when I should not fear, and I feel greedy and confident when I shouldn't feel confident. Trading made me realize that something is off there. Why is it that when I'm in profitable territory, I get fearful that I'm going to lose the profit, but when I am in negative territory, I get bold to try to get it back? That's backwards. I should fear in negative territory and be hopeful in profitable territory. Trading made me realize that somehow I'd been conditioned to get it wrong. Do you know the value of that? Do you know how much more valuable that is than buying something at $20 and selling it for $20.75? This is self mastery. This is learning who you are. This is what the ancients lived their life for. Trading is the vehicle that leads to that. How about feeling the trade too much? Your feelings betray you. Beware. Your feelings betray you. Your thoughts betray you. They're the most inconsistent things that you can rely on. This is why you must have a detailed trading plan. Your trading plan replaces your feelings. Your trading plan is the substitute for your thoughts. It's not what I think, it's my trading plan. It's not what I feel, it's my trading plan. And the more you deny what you feel and stick to your trading plan, the less and less your feelings start to bother you. The more you deny the temptation to do what you think and do what you planned, your thoughts lose power gradually over your decisions. And so you rise above your feelings, you rise above your thinking, and you stick to your freaking plan to the point where you are not the trader anymore. My trading plan is the trader. I don't have to think because it's all written down right here. I don't have to feel because it's all written down right here. I don't have to ponder or guess because the decisions are already written down right here. All I have to do is follow. And that's the journey to mastery. Denying your feelings and denying your thoughts. You give your horse, your stock, two chances. Everyone in life at least deserves one additional chance. The very special ones in life, you can give three choices, but no, not in the stock market. That's in regular life. And I'm not really one to do the three strike thing. I keep my trading life and my personal life very similar. All right. I don't give a stock more than two. You got one more chance. I tell you, okay, you wronged me. You got one more chance. That's it. Just one. Let's see what you do with your one last opportunity. And guys, I will tell you this, and I will end with this. This is the way I approach my trades. My trades are hired employees. Do you understand this? They are hired to serve me. They are put on the payroll to serve my needs, my wants, my desires. All right? In exchange for that, they get my money. They get my play. They get my sacrifice. Money, right, is my very essence. Why? Because I have put time and work. Time is the stuff that my life is made up of, right? So time is life. Time put into something has made me money. So my money is my time, which means my money is my life. In exchange for me giving a trade my life, a portion of my life, I want in return it to do what I want it to do. If it fails to do that, I will fire it. Do you understand? I will chop its neck off. I will eliminate it. It will be done swiftly. It will be done without a flicker of a doubt, without an hesitation. I will slit its throat and get it out of my life in the most merciless way possible. And I will have no qualms about doing that. All right? So when I get into a play, it's almost as if I'm saying, you have been hired. You've got up until this line. If you cross this line, I will slit your throat. Do you understand? I will annihilate you. You will be eliminated and cut out of my life forever. So you've got this line. Now go do your job. Your job is to make me money. And you've got up until this point. Now, that is the attitude that a more master-like trader will have, that they are in control. Their rules are to be adhered to. Their game is to be played, not this attitude of, okay, one last time I'm going to give this, boop, bye. All right, now stock, please. I can't lose another time, so please do the right thing for me. Please, please, please. Like, that attitude is the novice loser mentality attitude. It is totally the attitude of being the victim. It is totally the attitude of being at the mercy of the markets, as if the market has some power over you. This is not how you do this. This is not how you enter into your trades. This is not how you conduct yourself into the markets. You are the boss. Remember what I explained to you the other time, the other session. It's so important. It's so important. It's so important. I forgot my thought. It's so important. But the point is, traders, that this is it. The market does not have laws. You bring the laws. The market is lawless. It does not have direction. It is like an unruly child. You must bring structure and laws. You must bring order. The market doesn't have order. You bring the order. The market doesn't have rules to abide by. You bring the rules to abide by. The market is lawless. It doesn't have laws. You bring the laws. The market is not disciplined. You bring the discipline. The market doesn't have direction, a cohesive direction. You bring the cohesive direction. The market is chaotic. You bring order. Everyone's looking for order in the market. It's not there. Everyone's looking for a non-chaotic scenario. It's not there. Everyone's looking for the right laws. No, you bring the laws. The market doesn't have laws. The market doesn't have rules. The market doesn't have order. The market doesn't have discipline. You bring those things to the market. And so you bring the plan. You bring what is to be done, what is not to be done, where it's supposed to go, where it's not supposed to go. You bring the fire point. You bring the profit-taking point. You bring all of that to the market, and you say to the market, you either play my rules, my laws, my game, or you get eliminated. Now go do your job. I'm watching you. But that's the attitude you trade with. Do you understand? There is a huge difference, and I will tell you a little tiny life hack or a secret. Life, the universe, responds to that attitude more than the please be nice to me, be good to me. Can I just get a win this one? It'll make my wife really happy. You understand? Life responds, the universe responds, the market, which I told you is a microcosmic version of these things, responds better to the one that says, that brings the rules, sets the law, and fires when they have to fire, mercilessly. I don't know if you remember the story of Moses and how he received his life mission, which was to free his people from Egypt, right? And upon finally being released, Moses was allowed to take his people out of Egypt, and they begin their trek to the promised land. Now, this promised land was supposed to be a land of milk and honey flowing, a land of ecstasy, a land of ease and delight flowing with milk and honey. Everyone was excited, leaving slavery to the land of freedom. Now, this promised land from Egypt was about a 2.5-week journey, as the story would be told. But yet, Moses and his people, they traveled around the promised land for 40 years. It was 2.5 weeks away, but they traveled around and around and around and around for 40 years. And it is only after 40 years that they were allowed to enter into the promised land. Now, if you have studied any of the Christian faith, you will understand that 40 is a representative number. It's symbolic of something. Whether it was 40 years or not doesn't really matter. This is symbolic of completion. This is a number of completion. It's symbolic. So whether it was 40 years or not, it's saying that until the process was complete, they were not allowed to enter into the promised land. What had to happen was that all the people who were used to being slaves in Egypt, every single one of them had to die. You see, they left Egypt with the slave mentality. They left Egypt with all knowing nothing but slavery. Their minds were not free. Their spirits were not free. They could not have the proper vision. They could not see or believe the proper things. Many of them in the wilderness wanted to go back. They started saying that our lives were better as slaves. What have you done to us, Moses? You brought us into this wilderness to die? And every single one of those troublemakers had to freaking die. Until nothing left, until no one left, was the only people left were the kids, the new generation that were born that never knew slavery. And when the last person was gone, they were allowed to enter. The people were purified. The old was done away with. The process, 40 years, was complete. So much so was this the case that Moses, who had also come from Egypt, was not allowed to enter. He too had to die. Crazy, no? There are parts of who you are right now. Those parts are from Egypt, traders. They have to die. You can't become profitable, which is the land of milk and honey. You can't experience the milk and honey until certain things die. The process I've explained to you is the process of killing off what shouldn't be there. I told you this story in a variety of different ways. I told you the same story through the lesson I taught my twin girls. You have to remove certain things to get certain things.
to see certain things, to realize certain things. Certain things have to be done away with. Certain things have to die. You can't gain your life before you first lose your life. You can't leap before you first squat. A seed has to be put down in the ground first before it grows upward. You have to lose before you can ever become a winner. It's just the natural order of things. The loss is first, the winning is second. And this is something I wish I intimately understood during my process. But I'm trying to make you understand it now. So if we focus on the elimination first, if we stop being obsessive about the wins and start focusing on killing, removing, eliminating what is not proper, and we stay there, we will be left one day with what is proper. What is proper is there. It's 2.5 weeks away, which is symbolic of saying it's there, it's right there. Winning is right there. The land of milk and honey is right there. The promised land is right there. It's freaking 2.5 weeks away. But we've got to go through the 40 years, this symbolic 40-year process of removing what shouldn't, what doesn't deserve to be there.
Listen, you know, guys, I used to struggle with this. It baffled me to no end. I used to sit in the dark in my bed at night sometimes and question myself. I don't get it, I used to ask. I used to say, how can I just not be able to do a simple thing that I had written down? Have you ever asked yourself that? Like, have you ever talked to yourself like that? Like, Oliver, what is up, man? I used to try to penetrate this. What is it about the human makeup that makes this so difficult? It's simple. It's written down. It's staring me in the face. I know what to do. Why can't I do this simple thing? It used to keep me up at night. And I came to this conclusion after much investigation that there's multiple me's and they're all in competition with each other. That there's a me that wants to do the list. There's a me that wants to. There's a me that doesn't want to. There's a me that won't ever do the list. There's a me that will do it sometimes if it matches how I feel. I will do it. You ever get that part of you where I will do the list when I feel that the list is right, but I will not do the list when I feel that the list is wrong? That's one of you. Then another of you is, I will never do the list. I don't trust it. And then there's the you that wants to do the list every time. There's multiple yous at work here. And they're all fighting each other. You're bound in knots, like a ping pong ball hit back and forth between each one of the yous. And the one that we're trying to liberate is neither of them. Because these three types of yous have the real you in captivity. So, to break this, we introduce to these three yous, we introduce the notion of zero deviation. I'm going to ignore all of you by allowing the list to be the decision maker for us all. The list is going to be the decision maker for you, and me. We're all going to sit down on the sidelines, and the list is now going to take over. So sit down and be quiet. We need that period. Now, notice that I added the me there too. The three me's, the one that wants to do the list, that's me number one. The one that will never do the list because that me doesn't trust it. And the one that will do the list when it matches what they feel and not do the list when it doesn't match what they feel. So those are three yous. And then there's the other you, which sees the three yous. So there's four of you. All four of you must sit your asses down. All four. Because the ultimate act of the ego is to sit inside of the you watching the other threes and sit there like it's your friend and pass judgment on the other three yous when you need to sit your ass down too. So all four need to relax, sit down, and let the list be in control. But my God, if you can get this, you are on your way. The four yous are your problem. That final you, the fourth one that I said needs to sit down too, that's the real tricky one. That one, almost no one gets under control. That's very true, Ever. How many yous are you throughout the day? It's even built into our language. We call ourselves something different every few moments of the day. I'm bored. That's what you're calling yourself. You are saying, you're not saying I have boredom. You are saying I am boredom itself. I am hungry. Now, wait a minute. You were bored. Now you're hungry. I'm excited now. Now you're excited. I'm happy. I'm pleased. I'm satisfied. I'm content. I'm angry. I'm furious. How many different yous are you throughout the day? Do you understand that the human mechanism is not designed to be consistent at anything? This is what makes trading so hard, because trading requires consistent application of the same thing over and over again, but the conflicting yous fight against that consistency because it's not in the nature, it's not in the human condition. That's what I should call it, the human condition to be consistent. I'm this, I'm that. I'm now that, now I'm this, I'm this, I'm that, all day long. And And what this is doing is putting a halt to that. Creating an interrupt in the program. Breaking the matrix. And it's liberating. This is not only liberating from a trading perspective, it will bring about such a deep clarity one day that it will stupefy you. It is liberating in life in general. To be able to see all of the different yous and how they mess up your life. And to be able to break through that and to live moment by moment with this deep clarity that is no longer clouded by the confusing fight that goes on between the four different yous. Who's going to teach you that? Nobody. They're going to teach you a tactic. But the problem is, if you give tactics, even the best ones, to the four different yous, they will mess it up. You've got to attack this thing at the core. See? And the way you do it is to relinquish the decision-making power from all four of you and to give it to the list. This list is not either of your four selves. And each time, guys, listen to me carefully. Each time you get through a complete trade without allowing the four different yous to intervene, boom, you weaken the four yous. You send shockwaves. You get through another trade, boom, you weaken the four yous again. Each time you prevent the four yous from regaining control of the decision-making process, you weaken it. You weaken that team of four yous and weaken until they start to become silent. And then they live a certain life with you without whispering to you anymore. They just look at you. They feel abandoned. They feel like you have left them. How could you leave us after spending your whole life with us? It's almost as if they look at you with those sad eyes saying that. But in this process, a brand new thing comes into existence. It starts off small and only shows itself, only comes out every now and then more frequently, and then as it grows more frequently, more powerful. And it is this new thing that has nothing to do with the four yous of old. This new thing that has finally emerged. People have called this a lot of different names throughout history. But that thing is what we need to come into existence. And when this thing speaks and feels, it is completely different. This thing people call lucky. This thing people can't believe. This thing is unbelievable. It defies so many different laws. How can it be so lucky? How can it be so right? How can it know? How did you know, Oliver? I didn't. I just felt it. And the feelings of this thing is real. Only someone who has reached the highest level of mastery in their craft can relate to this really directly. You asked an elite sports athlete, but how did you know to do this differently this time and score that way? I didn't know. It just came to me in the moment. I did it. But the ego tries to trick you that it is that thing. But it's not.
If a stock is destroying your life, your trading record, and it's your favorite, you have a psychological malady that you actually want to be hurt. You want pain. Traders, this is the work. The work, the growth happens after trading. In the same way a sports team after the game goes into the locker room, maybe it's the next day, but sometime after the game, they go into the locker room and study what happened. They watch the film, they watch the video of the game before, the mistakes made, and they correct them right there in the locker room so that the next game is played differently if need be. And this is what you have to do. You go out into the market, you go out, you play the game, but you have to go back to the locker room after the game and do work. If the stock that you are losing your life on is your favorite, something is wrong with you. Oftentimes it's your favorite because you don't realize that it's destroying your life. But I think that if a stock is destroying your life, your trading record, and it's your favorite, you have a psychological malady that you actually want to be hurt. You want pain. You psychologically were probably told somewhere in your childhood that you would never amount to anything. And so you are working that out. You are acting that out subconsciously by wishing harm on yourself. These things happen. Listen, I'm no psychiatrist, but I do know that there are people that, and I've come across them in my trading career, that actually have a self-destructive streak. They literally undo themselves, and it's a repetitive pattern. And this often comes from an unconscious wish to do harm to oneself. And it has a number of different origins. Okay? It usually comes from some form of very low self-esteem and an internal unconscious feeling that I'm not worth or worthy of this success. So that when a person like that does start to experience success, they will out of the blue do something so stupid and so out of the norm that they ensure that it undoes what they gained because unconsciously they believe they shouldn't have it. And this is self-sabotage. Yes. And so I don't know what the answer to that is. I do know it when I see it. And I will tell you that if there's one market that can satisfy your destruction, if there's one area in life that can get it done, it's this one. I think it's important to know that so that you become aware if you are doing stupid things that that if you sit back and you say, how the heck did I do that? Why did I do that? That's stupid. I know better than that. If that's a pattern, I need you to become aware of that. The very awareness of it is part of the journey out of it. You can't be aware of a problem and not weaken it. It's like a thief, right? A thief in your home is the most dangerous when you are not aware that the thief is in your home. He is at his most powerful. That thief is at the height of his capability. You are asleep. He is in the dark, all alone, and that is when he can do the most damage. But if you were to wake up and shine the light on him, and your eyes lock with the eyes of the thief, guess what? The thief freezes. At that moment, you have robbed the thief of his greatest power, which is to steal from you in the dark. Just the awareness removes the power. Now, that thief has a choice: flee or fight. And most of them flee because they're cowards. So just the awareness of your thief starts the journey toward solving that issue, all right? And you, by journaling, by going over your last 20 trades, every time you complete a set of 20, by knowing your numbers, like my average loss per trade last week, by setting goals the following week based on those numbers, you not only become aware of some of the things you lack that need to be shored up or need to be improved, you are applying some very powerful things like knowing yourself. Your statistics are who you are. That is knowing yourself, okay? And you're practicing not only knowing yourself, you're being aware of what needs to be worked on. You're aware of where your greatest faults are. This is the work that needs to be done. It just doesn't happen. After 40 years, it's still fascinating to me how inextricably intertwined this activity is with every aspect of life. You, as a trader, are actually improving your whole life as you improve your trading. It was once said by Ralph Waldo Emerson. I was a huge Ralph Waldo Emerson reader as a kid. Ralph Waldo Emerson said that you cannot pluck a daisy without twinkling a star in the universe. And the point was that everything is interconnected. You cannot pluck a daisy in a meadow or a field without twinkling a star somewhere in the universe. That's very powerful. And so I'm here to tell you that you can't make a positive change in your trading without having that positive change somehow affect a more profound area of your life. You see, a large part of this activity is about becoming truer, becoming more responsible, becoming more careful, more precise, more accurate, becoming more disciplined. How can you become more disciplined in trading and not have that discipline spill over into other areas of your life? I mean, a disciplined person in sports is also a disciplined person in how they eat. A disciplined athlete is disciplined in how they eat, how they sleep, how they spend their time. The discipline spills over into every aspect of their lives. It's not like discipline just stops. Oh, discipline says, oh, he stopped trading, so I'm on break now. No, the discipline stays with you. It's like a muscle. You don't just have muscles in the gym and then when you leave the gym, the muscles say, okay, we're on vacation. No. You build that muscle, that discipline muscle up in trading, and that muscle is with you your whole day. So it's so fascinating how
interconnected this activity is in everything. You cannot pluck a daisy without twinkling a star. And you cannot make one improvement in your trading without it having some profound effect in another, probably far more important area of your life. And this alone should be enough of a motivation to approach every trade with a sanctity that is beyond just buying something for $1 and selling it for $2. It's deeper than that. That you should sit down at your computers, your laptops, or whatever you trade from, as if that moment is the start of something else that's sacred, that is sublime, that is special. That once again you have the opportunity to get it perfect, to do it right, to emerge from the experience a different, better you. You cannot do a good trade and stay the same. You cannot. You cannot correct a mistake and stay the same person. It might be imperceptible to the eye initially, but the change is there, and you cannot remain the same with more experience. Experience forces you to leave the old you behind forever, and you can't undo experience. You can't undo it. Once you have it, it's yours forever. Knowledge is your sovereign right as a human being in this universe. That once you know a thing, you can't unknow it. No one can take it from you. No one can steal it from you. No one can ruin it. You can't break it. It's yours forever. Like frickin' Bitcoin in your private wallet. It's yours forever. True self-sovereignty. Experience is yours forever. No one can take your experience away from you. No one can ruin it. It can't disappear anymore. You have it. Once you have it, it's yours forever. Once you have knowledge, it's yours forever. And if every single day you're becoming a little more knowledgeable, a little more experienced, if every single trade you are doing your best to emerge out of the whole experience of the trade better than you did the last one. If you just string those things together, it's impossible to stay the same. It's impossible not to progress. It's impossible to not become better in your whole life.